Next, we are reviewing how to divide by a decimal. When you divide by a decimal, you need to rewrite the problem so you are dividing by a whole number. You can do this by multiplying the divisor by a power of 10. That will make the divisor a whole number, and multiplying the dividend by the same power of 10. Remember that you can multiply a decimal by 10, 100, or 1000 by moving the decimal to the right 1, 2, or 3 places. This goes back to what we talked about with scientific notation, where the power of 10 tells us how many places to move the decimal. Well, 10 is 10 to the 1, 100 is 10 to the 2, and 1000 is 10 to the 3rd. So for those, it's a little bit of a shortcut. Example, find the quotient. 7 and 84/100 divided by 1 and 4/10. So the first thing we do is multiply the divisor, which is the number outside the house, the number you're dividing by. It's always second in the division problem. And then the dividend, which is a number inside the house, or it's the number that shows up first when the problem's written horizontally. Multiply them both by a power of 10. In this case, it's just 10 because we only need to move the decimal one place. So we're just going to move the decimal one place, so it goes behind the 14. And whatever we do here, we have to move it here as well. So we're going to move the decimal one place to get 78. So now we have 14 going into 78 and 4/10. And then we just divide like we would with whole numbers. So 14 goes into 78 5 times. 5 times 14 is 70. We subtract that, we get 8 as a remainder. We bring the 4 down. 14 goes into 84 6 times. So we put the 6 up. We subtract the 84. We have a remainder of 0. And then we need to make sure we put the decimal in our answer so it moves directly up from where it is inside the house. So we get 5 and 6/10. That's why it's really important to keep your numbers lined up as you're dividing. Try it. Divide 5 and 65/100 by 4 and 52/100. So first thing we need to do is figure out how many decimal places there are in the divisor. That's 2. So we need to move it 2 places. C tells us to move the decimal point as we just did, and we rewrote the problem. Will we need to annex or add zeros to the dividend? Right now, no, but as we go through the problem, we will have to. But we're going to write no because we don't need to add any right now to move the decimal. Now we're going to divide. We know 452 is only going to go in once. Now what we're going to do is we're going to add a decimal point behind the 5 and add a 0 and extend the answer. So now we're going to add the zeros. And now we need to figure out how many times it's going to go into this. Well, we know 4 times 3 is 12. So 452 is probably only going to go into 1,130 twice. So then we're going to subtract here. And now we're going to add another 0, bring that down. And 452 is going to go into this probably about 5 times. Let's do the multiplication and check that one. And there we go. It comes out exactly. So our answer becomes 1 and 25/100. Divide. Write your answer above the dividend. So the first thing we're going to do is move the decimal 2 places to the right for each number because we need to get the 4 as a whole number. And we already know 4 goes into 38 9 times, so we're going to subtract 36. Now we're going to add a decimal and bring the 0 down. 4 goes into 25 times. And then it's really important to make sure we put that decimal in the answer because there's a big difference between 9 and 5/10 and 95. So our answer here is 9 and 5/10. For F, we have 25 hundredths going into 4 and 5 hundredths. So we're going to move the decimal 2 places to the right in both number to get the 25 as a whole number. And we know 25 goes into 41s. So we get a remainder of 15. Then we bring the 5 down, so we know 25 goes into 155 6 times because 6 times 25 is 150. Now we're going to add a decimal point at the end, add a 0, and bring that down. 25 goes into 50 twice. And then we make sure our decimal is in its right place, which it is, so our answer is 16 and 2/10. For G, again, we're going to move the decimal 2 places to the right in both numbers. So now we have 85 going into 705.5. So we know 8 times 9 gets us 72. So that's probably going to be too big for 85. So let's multiply 85 by 8. So it goes in 8 times. So we're going to put the 8 over the first 5 because it goes into 705 8 times. We're going to subtract the 680 and get 25. And then we're going to bring down the 5. So we have 85 going into 255. And we know that 8 times 3 is 24. So we're going to try 85 times 3. Then it comes out exactly at 255, so it goes in 3 times. But the 3 out, we subtract, we have 0 for our remainder now. And then we make sure the decimal is in place in the answer. So we get 8 and 3/10. For H, we only need to move the decimal 1 place to get a whole number outside. So we're only going to move it 1 place in each number. So we know 37 can't go into 2 and it can't go into 29. So we're going to put 0.0 up so far. And then we're going to look at that, and 37 is close to 40, and 40 going into around 300, maybe 7 times. So let's start with that for our first multiplication. And that looks a little low, so we're going to try 37 times 8 next. And there we go. It goes in exactly. So we're going to put the 8 up, subtract our 296. We have a remainder of 0, and our answer is 8/100. For I, we need to move each decimal place one place to the right to get 4 as a whole number. And now we just do the division. 4 goes into 5 ones. We get a remainder of 1. We bring down the 6. 4 goes into 16 4 times. So our answer is 14. For J, we're going to move the decimal one place to the right for each number, so we get 9 as a whole number. And then we know 9 goes into 72 8 times. So we get 0.8 as our answer. For K, we're going to move it one place to the right to get 5 as a whole number. So we know 5 goes into 22 4 times, so we subtract 20. We get a remainder of 2. We're going to bring down the 5. So then 5 goes into 25 5 times. We have no remainder left. We bring up the decimal. We get 4 5/10 as our answer. Finally, last one, we're going to move the decimal place one place to the right to get 6 as a whole number. Right, in this one, 6 goes into 6 ones. We don't have our remainder, so we bring the 3 down. 6 cannot go into 3, so we have to put a 0 up in the answer. And then we bring the 6 down. 6 goes into 36 6 times, and we get our answer of 1 6/100. For M, we have 2 52/100 divided by 7/10. So we're going to move the decimal place one place to the right in both numbers so that the 7/10 becomes 7. So our divisor is a whole number. Then we're going to divide. 7 goes into 25 3 times. Seven goes into 42 6 times, and then we need to put our decimal in our answer. So our answer becomes 3 6/10. Finally, for N, we need to move the decimal 2 places to the right so that the divisor becomes 3, a whole number. We know 3 goes into 27 9 times. So our answer becomes 9/10. Please make sure you have all of the work copied down and glue the pages in your math notebook.